Now here's how I would start 13. First off, what you can think of is where our boundaries are. And so for this first one, I have a boundary at less than or equal to 6, negative 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I'm going to have a boundary here, which means for this one, the graph is going to be over here. All right. For the second one, it's going to be in between negative 6 and 2. And I'm going to get rid of all these boundaries after I'm done graphing. So in here is where that yellow section is going to be. And then we skip over to where x is 4. And that's going to be over here. So what I need to do is graph each section. And I'll probably graph the entire line and then just chop it off at each of those particular spots. I'm going to get rid of this black line real quick. Because we don't actually need it, because I can make a straight line with that. Alright, so I'm going to start with the one on the bottom first. Alright. So this one here, the y-intercept is 1. The slope is negative 2, down 2 over 1. And so what I'm going to do is draw this line, but knowing that it has to be to the right of the green boundary. I'm going to call that good right there. And the way I'm going to do this is actually draw over that line. And since it's an open circle because it's greater than, all right, I'm going to put an open circle right there on 4, and I'm just going to trace over that black line in green. And then what I'm going to do is come back and delete the black line, because the green line is the only part of the line I need because it gets chopped off to the right of that boundary. And eventually I'll go back in and delete those 2 points. Actually, let's just do that now. I'll delete those 2 points that I used to draw the line, because I really don't need them now. They're not part of that, all right? And so there's the green line, and for that matter, I don't need the green boundary anymore either. All right, so there's that section of it. Now for this middle part, it's actually pretty easy since it's y equals 5. That's just going to be, I go up to where y equals 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So right there. 2, 3, 4. Right there is where y equals 5. And now I have an open circle on the left. That's because of this open circle. Then it's going to be a closed circle on the right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have an open circle on the left, closed circle on the right, and I'm just going to connect those points. All right, and that's that middle section. So again, I can get rid of those boundaries. I don't need them anymore. And I'm also going to get rid of these little arrows that I drew. Put the gold back to match it up. And then for the last one, this one is a little trickier, because I'll do it in black again. The y-intercept is 0 and the slope is 2. So I'm going to have a point here, and if I go up 2 over 1, I get a point right there. All right. The problem is, since the graph is supposed to be over here, I'm going to have to extend that line all the way down. All right, so that's what I'm going to attempt to do next. And it's just going to go on the other graph, I guess. Let's do a better job with that. That's pretty good. And again, since I have a y less than or equal to negative 6 is the boundary, which means I will have a closed circle on that boundary. So right there, it's closed. I extend it. I missed it. Still missed it. One more time. There we go. And now I'll go back and erase the black line, because all I need is the green line underneath. So that's the graph for all of that, right? So there's a lot going on there. Now, I need to still come up with the domain and range, and then I'll be in good shape for that one. Okay? Now, the domain, I'm looking for gaps as I move horizontally. And if you notice here, I do have a gap. Oh, actually, let's get rid of these boundaries. I don't need them anymore. All right. So as I move this way from the left, when I get to here, it jumps up to that point. So I'm good. I have constant moving from left to right, but then there's a little bit of a gap right here from here to here on the X. Right, so I have to account for that. And so the way that I account for that is, since I have a boundary at x equals 2, because as I move to the right, it stops me at 2, and so my x value is x less than or equal to 2, or then it picks up again at 4 on the right side of that yellow, and it's greater than 4. Okay. Now, for the range, I have a couple things going on. First off, I have just this part up top, which is just f of x equal to 5. So that is just this line right here, the green line right there. Let me get rid of this blue stuff. Okay. And I'm also going to get rid of this yellow stuff. Because what I have for the range, I have this, and then I have here down. Okay. So that's f of x equals 5 represents the top horizontal line. The rest is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Is that 6? Yeah, so it looks like my line here is right at f of x less than 6, because that's where I'm lined up there. Okay? So that's how I would do number 13.